There it is, Jordy Smith already ringing the bell. Welcome back to the Ribco Pro Bells Beach. We're moments away from the awards ceremony where we'll get to actually see him really ring that bell. Joining me on the show before we get to the awards ceremony, Martin Potter, Barton Lynch. You've been able to join us through this entire leg of Australia, 3 events back to back to back. Kind of just your view on how that kind of unfolded for you.
Oh, it's been amazing. The Gold Coast was incredible. The waves were amazing. The storms, the weather we had there was uncharacteristic. And then the next 2 events, I've never been to Margaret River and seen so much sunshine, so little wind, and so much swell.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
the same for here, hey Potts. I've never been to Bells Beach and seen so little wind. It just lie down during the day, so much swell. So we've really been blessed.
Absolutely. I mean, today was predicted to blow like pretty strong on shore, and we got here this morning, that fog came in and the wind went offshore, and it stayed that way pretty much most of the day. So incredible stuff. Bombing sets coming through all day, and we saw some incredible surfing.
Well, you think the sun is shining onto this tour as of late, because a lot of things that have been predicted not really coming to fruition. I think a lot of these guys, you would have noticed that Bells with Jordy Smith would have been a favorite, and now to finally see him get to that final and actually ring that bell, it's and the performance that went on in that final, you'd have to say it's second to none. I mean, it definitely came a little higher than I thought it was going to be because of the conditions.
3 9-point rides. I mean, he saved his best for last, really. And BL, you'll agree, Jordy Smith, one of the guys that sort of would have gone down as the best guy to never win a bell, and he's done that. So an amazing name on the trophy. So.
Well, let's take a look at this final because, again, it was a good one. And we thought, we all kind of predicted that it's going to be slowing. We may not get as many opportunities, but it literally, there was a nice 20 minutes or 25 minutes where it pumped. The very early starts of this, you had picked up on it that Jordy was looking at his first wave as kind of a warm-up just to be able to bank a score. Is that kind of the strategy sometimes, even in a final, that you would want to do?
I think so. I mean, well, given the inconsistent nature of it, and then we saw Kaio go and ride 4 or 5 and fall on every one. So you could see the experience of Jordy Smith coming to play there, where Kaio was that youthful exuberance, couldn't contain it, was getting a little loose around the edges, and sort of paid for that in the long term.
No, absolutely. I like the way Jordy started. I think 75% to get the ball rolling. And he touched on that with you, was he didn't know whether he was going to get more opportunities. So he didn't want to blow that one. It was a good solid start, and it laid the foundations for what was to come.
And of course, I just don't understand how Bells has given us this glassy conditions. Again, we woke up this morning and it was raw, right? I mean, it was onshore early. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
But somehow we're here and it's glassy. And Potts, you've told me in the past, this doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't. Especially not this time of the year. I mean, Victoria's traditionally, we have wind, no matter which direction it comes from. But today was a special day. I mean, it was meant to be. We were sort of considering running in the morning and then maybe finishing it tomorrow. But I like the fact that Kieran just kept the door open for just to keep running. I was super impressed with Kaio Belly. I mean, he kind of was, the little guy in amongst all the giants today, wasn't he? And he just came out surfing like he was about 6'6", and I'm super impressed with the kid. He's got a big future ahead of him.
This is where this final turned on, and this is where the excitement level went big, and we also saw that exchange where Jordy came in on the inside and rang a bell before he'd even got there. I don't think he realized what Kaio had done on the wave previous.
And I suppose it's that rush of energy. He doesn't, it's like he wasn't consciously doing that.
I was wondering if
you'd
been thinking about it.
Yeah, it just came out. And same with that claim just before, after the snap. He was just feeling it so much. And it's the built-up frustration of so many years and so many close calls to get that opportunity. He was feeling it, but I would never do that, mate. I'm too scared to do that because you're almost setting yourself up for disaster, aren't you? But he managed to hold on. The ocean did go flat at the back end, and Kaio didn't get another chance, so lucky for him with that ring, because Kaio was right there, as you said, Potts. The surfing was there, he just needed a wave.
You made a choice. 9.28. I mean, you touched on the fact that maybe the air could have come into play because, Jordy wasn't going to go there. You didn't need to because he was dropping bombs, but you look at Kaio's 9.63. He only needed a 9.28.
But he was capable,
but he was right there. And I mean, with what we've seen so far from him today, it was a definitely gettable score.
And that's what this Australian leg has done for us, hasn't it? When we look at this one from Jordy celebrating on the way in, it has raised the bar where a 9-2-8, we go, yeah, of course, easy if he gets away. And there's just been so many nines, such an amazing high level of performance that we expect that now.
Yeah, and well, if you look at the high heat totals, you know, all 18 or above, and there's the top 10 there. You look at all the waves, 10 nines, you know, and again, probably added a few more there. So you would even have probably 15 or so nines. So the performance level has risen at this event specifically, but I feel like it's almost across the tour. Would you agree?
Oh, 100% across the tour. People are throwing away nines.
Yeah, I mean, the lowest score on the front page of the nines is a 9.5. You know, so that's where it is at the moment. The last score on the first page.
Let's see that we had 2 more scores come in that final, so that would have dropped off.
So that would have dropped off. So you know, you're looking at, you've got to get 9.6s to 9.7s in this day and age to actually win heats. You know, so
I suppose the waves have given the surfers that opportunity too. Mother Nature's come to this party during the Australian leg, and every single event has had incredible waves.
And that's of course the timing of the tour, putting them in the prime regions of the 10-day waiting periods. You know, all of that finally coming, because there has been tours that didn't have the wave quality, but already for this start, it looks like we're going to hopefully keep the ball rolling going into the Rio Pro, which was a change of venue for that. And of course, you go to Tahiti at that time of the year, you got J-Bay, all these great events that are going to come up, and generally we're going to see that those events can produce surf.
We're used to them producing it, aren't we? And this leg has kind of raised the bar and kicked things off in such an incredible way.
Well, you know what? You touched on the Goldie too, about how that started, and we had the weather and the waves came to play, and it sort of just set the pace for the rest of the year. Margaret River turned on. I mean, 15-foot main break, you know, incredible surf in there. John, 5 heats in a row with 19+ points. You know, such a dominant performance that just set the pace for here at Bells Beach, and it just kept flowing over, didn't it? So
it
amazing.
Sure did.
Yep.
Well, it's time to ring a bell. And Ronnie Blakey's down there on the stage. He's going to give it away. So take it away, Ronnie.
Thank you, Pete. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a big round of applause, please? How good was that? Amazing stuff. All right, before we get underway here, of course, with all the presentations here at the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach, we want to acknowledge that we're on the traditional land of the Wadawurrung people, and we want to get the team up here for the traditional ceremonial dance to kick things off with the presentation. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage. Thank you, Humi. Thank you, boys. Amazing stuff there. And again, let's put our hands together and acknowledge the elders, past and present, of the Wadawurrung people. For 56 years now, we've been coming down to Bells Beach, creating history. This is the place where Simon Anderson unveiled his thruster in '81 in huge waves. Simon's still ripping the bowl to this day. He's here at the moment. Let's give Simon a round of applause. This is the place where Mick Fanning won his first championship tour event as a wild card back in 2001. He has won the bell here 4 times now, and he was going for a 5th today, but maybe we'll see him back next year. Kelly Slater surfed in this event for the 23rd time in 2017. Kelly's here today. Put your hands together for Kelly. Please come back next year, Mr. Slater. It wouldn't be the same without you. So many great moments and so many more to come. We can't wait to get back here again next season. Of course, some other special thanks need to be made. Rip Curl, their support of this event is long-standing, and they always put on a fantastic show, accommodating all of us. So a big shout out to Rip Curl. It's rare to have such magic support from the government. We want to thank Visit Victoria and the state government of Victoria for their support of this contest. Big thanks there. Jeep, Corona, the Surf Coast Shire and Airbnb, thank you. Now this has been a pretty special year. It's been an amazing Australian leg. We've been blessed with really good waves, and today was no different. What a way to cap off an incredible Australian leg. We've seen groundbreaking performances. John Florence over at Jeffreys Bay, again he looked sharp here, but he was no match for one of our upcoming stars, and we're seeing this all the time these days. This next crop is really forcing the issue and really taking it to the veterans. So an amazing performance from all the youngsters, an amazing performance from all our competitors. So a big round of applause for everyone, please. We want to say a very big thank you to our guests on the stage. One of the co-founders of Rip Curl, who is, of course, a massive surf fan himself, Doug Claw Warbrick. Thank you, Claw. Another co-founder here, Brian Singer, never misses the event. Brian, thanks for your support of this contest. What do you reckon, Claw? Did it this year live up to expectation?
One of the great ones.
One of the great ones, he said. We want to thank the Commissioner, Kieran Perro, has the tough job of making the call. I think he made the right decision today. I'm sure you'd all agree. Some of the best Bells conditions we've had on finals day. Well done, Kieran. All right. Time to hand out some trophies. Today we saw a lot of firsts for Kai O'Belly. First of all, he cracked the semi-finals. Then he came up against the biggest hurdle you could come up against at this point in time. John Florence, just in such rare form. Kai O'Belly kept that fighting spirit alive. We saw the same thing from Courtney yesterday in the women's event. He held his nerve and he put up a great showing against Jordy Smith, one of the biggest power surfers in the game. And I'm sure when you see both these guys on stage, you'll see there's a significant height difference. But Kaio's surfing, like his heart, is huge. Let's get him up here. The runner-up for 2017 here at the Rip Curl Pro, Kai O'Belly. There it is. Kaio, what a giant killing run you went on today. How good does this feel?
Yeah, it's really fun. I think this is my second time here in Bells, and yeah, it feels really gonna be really nice right there in my house. I cannot make too much noise because Jordy won actually. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Like, this has been the best Easter, starting on the Easter, right? So this is the best Easter I ever had, and it prolonged all the way from until today, and today we had great waves and big support. Thank you so much, you guys that came down to the beach, and thank you, appreciate it. And congrats to Jordy. Like, I think 3 days ago we were just at his house chatting on the day off and cruising and talking, and yeah, here being in the final against him was just a really honor to me. And yeah, I watched him when I was a little grown doing the movies and stuff, and be in the final in Bells Beach, somewhere that yeah, next one is JB. But I love these right-handers, and yeah, stoked. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your help.
Congratulations. And with that result, Kaio's back into the top 10. He had a good run here in the Australian leg last year. And obviously, he's leaving here once again in a great position on the ratings, heading back home to Brazil to compete there. Congratulations, Kaio. Yes. All right. Now, during the broadcast, I don't know if you heard us, but we were talking about Jordy Smith and his relationship with this wave. This event has probably given him more sleepless nights than any other. He's come so close in the past. He almost got there last year. He's had some very close semis, some close round 5 heats with massive heat score totals. But this year, he couldn't be beat. Jordy Smith with a monstrous heat score total, and one of the rare people that rang the bell before they won the contest. Let's bring him up. Your 2017 Rip Curl Bells Beach Pro Champ, Jordy Smith.
So that means guidance from above.
Thank you, Jimmy. He's never looked better. All right, get over here, Jordy. Let's have a chat before you give this thing a big ring. Mate, congratulations. Well done. Mate, the semi-finals, you looked a little shaky. When John got beaten by Kaio, did you sense a massive opportunity? Did the nerves kick in at that point?
To be honest, I've been kind of pretty centered all day. I just knew that we had a lot of surfing to get through if I wanted to win the bell and win the bell. But yeah, I think the crowd just kind of, I had a couple of great wipeouts on the sand. Yeah, they were just flaring me up. I was getting pretty amped, and at one point during a wave, I think I got my emotions kind of got halfway through. I claimed it, and yeah, it's kind of been a thing lately, claiming, but I'll run with it.
Mate, talk to us about this event. You joined the elite ranks 10 years ago now, and this is one of those contests that you've been watching since you were a kid. Your dream has always been to win a world title, obviously, but there's some events on the schedule that you just want to win more than others, and this has to be one of those for you.
Absolutely. Bells, I've been coming here since I was like 12 years old. All my favorite surfers have won this event, and so yeah, last year was pretty upset for myself. I was pretty bummed when I got second, but I couldn't believe my luck when I made it into the final to get an opportunity and to surf against an incredible friend. And like he said, just a couple of days ago, we were at my place just kind of cruising, and to be up here on the stage with him is really an honour.
Mate, we've got to ask the question. You know, obviously it's been a hard slog. You've reached that second place now on the world title race a couple of times. Last year seemed to give you a lot of momentum. It seemed like at times you weren't really even in the race, but it sort of just re-engaged you. This year you're looking really committed, you're looking strong, and you're leaving Australia in the #2 spot on the ratings. How good's that feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously could be better, but we've been surfing against John, you know, the guy's just on fire. And yeah, I think for myself, it's just trying to do the best surfing I can. It's just at the end of the year, just see where that leaves me.
Mate, I said that you're one of the rare people that actually started ringing the bell before you won the contest. It's a curse, you know, but somehow you dodged the bullet there, mate. Congratulations. Are you ready to do it?
Yeah, I am.
Are you ready to see it? Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, your 2017 Rip Curl Bells Beach Pro Champion, Jordy Smith. I want to jump in one more time, Jordy, because I didn't give you the opportunity, but I know it takes a lot of people to put together a campaign and a championship tour event. It's a really tough slog, and obviously you've got some people to thank.
Absolutely. Obviously all my sponsors, everybody that's involved with me. I really appreciate all the support. My family, Gally, my beautiful wife, she's watching at home. I know she'll be thrilled with a bunch of mates, and have a couple of glasses of wine for me, babe.
Yes, Lyndall, I'm sure she is watching. Congratulations once again. Why don't you give that bell one more ring for the crowd? Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. You've been an incredible crowd. You're part of history now. We can't wait to see you next year. Right now, though, it's time to throw it back to Pete and the boys for the post-show.
Thank you, Ronnie. And always such a fun award ceremony to watch. You never know what's going to happen. Jordy thanked all the right people, and he got to ring that bell for real.
Oh, it makes me want to cry, mate. I seriously sit there and I feel myself tearing up because you know what it means to these guys and how much time and how much effort and to see childhood dreams be fulfilled is just such a wonderful thing.
Absolutely, Bill. It's you know, it's an emotional moment, you know, and all that hard work, you know, especially for Jordy. I mean, he's gone through the injury stage and he's got himself back at 100%. 10 years in the making that day was right there, and you know, hey, it was obviously very sweet for him and you know, obviously emotional. So good for him, and let's see if he can take it further and keep that ball rolling, because I tell you what, everyone's surfing at such a high level now. It's going to be hard to keep that going.
Whew. Well, let's look back at this amazing Australian leg. We have 3 events, 3 different winners with John Jordy and Owen Wright. The Owen Wright story to start this one off. It felt like a year ago that this happened, but think about that comeback and that storyline. And then we go into what John's performance at Margaret River, and then now Jordy's performance at Bells. I mean, it's been an amazing, I mean, truly amazing Australian leg.
Could it be? It's certainly one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You look at the conditions, you look at the waves, you look at the performances. As you said, talk about getting choked up. You think about Owen's performance as snapper and that win, Wilco backing up into the final. That was just an amazing start.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously with what O-Dog had to do, I mean, go through what he's gone through, and you know, you heard Mick talk about it at certain stages through the year. He kept sort of reconnecting with O-Dog, and he said he couldn't, you know, it was just amazing that the level that he was getting himself to during the year, and to come back and you know, not just compete, but to compete at such a high level and take down the guys he did and win that thing was super special. I mean, for us especially, to be able to sit there and watch that go down was that feel-good moment, that chicken skin moment.
Yeah, sure. It was emotional, wasn't it? Now we get to relive the surfing. How was that backhand attack? Was just amazing.
Settle down, goofy footer.
Well, you know, in this event too, of course, you know, we talked about how his comeback was so huge, but I mean, one of the things that he did to win here was the fact that he was able to do very smart surfing. Guy injured his brain, and all of a sudden he's going in and he's making great decisions throughout that entire event. Surfed so well.
Yeah, it was controlled. The temperament of Owen Wright just suited the waves. The tempo he surfed at suited the waves, and you felt that you were looking at a different Owen Wright. It felt like it wasn't a crazy little grommet or a kid learning the ropes or whatever. This was an older, more mature, more sort of tempered person who'd been through a hell of a lot, appreciated what he had, and just brought that love to the performance.
You could see him just after each hit getting better and better. You know, it was almost like, oh, okay, I remember this. I remember how to do this. And, you know, each hit he was just cranking it up and making less mistakes and, you know, taking down some big names along the way and, you know, worked it out at the end.
Well, and of course, we jumped in a plane, went over to the West Coast and into Margaret River, one of the best places on tour for as far as variety of surf. We've been able to open it up going to North Point for the first time ever. And then, of course, the performance by John Florence, sustaining 19-point heats throughout an entire event. I mean, his performance there, setting a new standard, really, for competitive surfing.
I think so. I think that's a very fair statement. It's a big statement, isn't it, to say someone set a new standard, but it certainly did, you know. This day was a little slow in the beginning. Seabass's 10 at the end went, no, this is a place you could really do, you know, put on an amazing event. And John's surfing at all locations on all days, every heat was at a standard that was, like you said, above what we've ever seen.
Yeah, well, there was the standard, and then there was the John standard. I mean, it was like there was everyone else, and then there was John. It was like definitely more than a step above. And it was. I mean, taking nothing away from the people he surfed against, but he made everyone look kind of average, but they sort of caught up at Bells, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And he didn't look like the same guy here he was there, because there were some mistakes creeping in, but he was still amazing.
Yeah.
But that surfing was, as you said, Peter, was next level. He dominated that powerful ocean. Some of these turns were the best turns we've ever seen in competition, no doubt.
I would have to say so. I mean,
doubt.
it was incredible when you sit there and you watch a heat like this, and you're just in awe of some of the maneuvers like that that were happening. And it's inspiring. I mean, I wanted to like order boards. You know, you wanted to put it together, but I mean, it was also a lot of fun to watch. And John Florence, and you look at what we've seen with 3 different events, you know, and 3 different winners. This world title race is pretty unique. I mean, John's got himself a pretty good lead. He's got a third, 2/3, and a first. So you'd say that he's got a good distinct advantage going into the next event, the Oirero Pro.
I mean, you look at not just the guys like John and Jordy, but you look at the rookies on tour as well. You know, I mean, Connor O'Leary, quarterfinals on the Gold Coast, Zeke Lau, Frederica Marias. I mean, these guys are all stepping up and making sure that, and keeping these guys honest, aren't they? These guys have all had to step up their game because this whole new crop of incredible surfers have joined the tour. And we predicted at the beginning of the year it was going to be, you know, a cracker, and it's turning out to be that way.
And we didn't see the results that you kind of are used to from your Mick Fannings, Kelly Slaters, Joel Parkinsons, but that's not to say that they were surfing any worse than they've ever surfed. Their performances were as good as they could do. That was them in vintage form, pretty much. Maybe here and there not so, but generally speaking, it wasn't the results weren't a reflection of them tapering off at all. No. It was just a reflection of everyone else rising to meet them.
Across the board, right?
Yeah, across the board.
Okay, you get those top 34, and you know, all top 34 now. You look at Kyle Belli and Zeke Lau getting close there. So this tour is so cool. You know, let's take a look at what Jordy was able to do. And, you know, we talk about what was happening. John was a clear favorite over there at Margaret River. You would say that Jordy was a pretty clear favorite here. He was putting on performances each and every round that were a level above his competitors, and he was able to take down the win.
Oh, look at that driving bottom turn. I suppose he's got that power, he's got the experience, and he's got the variety like John has, and he's got the turns to match John. Again, you just didn't know. John in my mind was like on that level in Margaret River where you were kind of thinking, can no one touch him? Can he deliver that again? And Jordy, this turn to me straight into that next one, that combo was amazing, and no one combos them up out here better than Jordy Smith.
For me, there was nervous moments though, because you're waiting for Jordy to crack though, you know, which he's done in the past. So even though, I mean, I've seen performances like this from Jordy in the past, but then hasn't managed to hold it together to go all the way. So for me, there was moments of like, okay, when is it going to stop? When is this run for him going to end? And it just, for once, it didn't, you know, and he managed to hold it together and put on, for me, one of the best performances he's put on in the final in his entire career. So fingers crossed he can continue this kind of form, because really the only thing missing from his resume is a world title. I mean, he's that caliber of surfer, day in and day out. You know, no matter where you're at, you know, he's fine-tuning his game. He's injury-free, and he's ringing the bell before he's supposed to.
Well, just on that note, just so you guys just got word that he chipped his tooth. The bell bit him back and chipped his tooth when he was ringing it.
Oh, no way.
No.
Can you believe it?
I can. There's some power.
That's why you're not supposed
to. Yeah.
And you're not supposed to ring it until you win it. And well, he ended up winning it, but it did. It bit him in the tooth.
Just now on the stage.
Yes,
now.
Now. It did. It's
oh my
funny.
Gosh.
And, you know, it's funny stuff. But I mean, again, we just touching on his performance again, you know, in this final. Throughout today, too, it was a big day for competition.
Absolutely, and the most vulnerable he looked was maybe in that semi-final at the back end, where it looked like his energy was tapering off, and you were thinking, does he have enough to do it in this final? Or KO, has he got that, like, lightning fast Brazilian Jenga spirit, and is he going to come out?
I was sold on it, and so are you, Potts. Yep. We thought we called him as the win, but Jordy said, nah, that's not going to happen.
I mean, my heart said Jordy, my head said KO.
Always believe your heart.
Always believe your heart, but you know, that's why I don't play fantasy, because I believe my heart, and I don't do any good at all. So you know, Jordy proved me wrong, but amazing stuff from him, and you know, let's hope he can continue that form. He's won in Brazil before, right? So, and as I said, his world title stuff, his world title material, that's the only thing missing from his resume. Let's see if he can hold it together.
Well, and just reflecting again on Jordy one more time, is that you know, it seems like that team is settled in. You know, he's been able to bring Lindell and get that marriage and their understanding of how things work. You know, and him doing his job, she doing hers, and then also of course, the coach, you know, and that kind of how to inspire Jordy. Gallagher's done a good job.
He certainly has, and Gal's he was the fastest learner I'd ever met on tour. He was one of those guys who could take grasp of a concept or a thing just so quickly. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and he was able to deliver that because he's so articulate, and you know, we're seeing the results.
Well, there's our leaderboard, the Jeep leaderboard, of course. Right now, John Florence will be wearing that yellow jersey into the Oi Rio Pro. Jordy Smith back at runner-up, and you know, that's a place where he's comfortable with, but now John better watch out.
Tied second with Owen. I mean, you know, I reckon this is going to be probably one of the best title races that we've seen in a long time. I think there's going to be 5, 6, 7 guys in the running. I mean, the way this year's, you know, panning out, 3 different winners already. I think it's going to continue.
Coming up next, the Oi Rio Pro. We go from here to a new venue in Rio, at Saquarema. Your thoughts on that? Have any of you guys ever been to Saquarema?
I have
long time ago. I can't really remember. It's a lot of water under the bridge since then, but yeah, it's a high-performance wave. It's a dominant, sort of more of a left-hander, right, Pete? And then there's the option to go down the beach and surf a right-hander on the other side that can get big and barreling. So probably one of the most consistent parts of Brazil for waves. I can't wait to go there and see what happens.
It's one of the focal points. As you see, it points toward that Southern Ocean. It's an area that the bathymetry sucks in swell. So you have beach breaks in Rio that are going to be 2 foot. There, it's going to be 4 or 5 foot. It's one of those swell magnets. And so again, you're going to show up there and there's going to be waves, most likely. It's Barra de Tijuca. You go drive about 2 hours to the northeast, and then we get all the way there. And again, see how it bends, the coast bends, and it is a focal point. That's the wave there. There's a jetty. As you can see, that jetty there is the right-hander. If you were to look up the beach here, that left-hander is there because of the rock formations. And this thing is a left. There is a right that goes into it too, but again, it's a swell magnet. So it's not going to be your typical Brazil event where it's just a beach break kind of a deal. It's going to have some size and solidness to it.
But again, I think with that being at home for the Brazilians, we've seen what they've been able to do here in Australia, and I feel like those events in Brazil tend into airfests, don't they, really? Where here in Australia, there's been some amazing aerial surfing, but we've been in big waves, generally speaking, in that a lot of in the, 6 to 10 foot range?
True.
Quite consistently over the last couple of events. You go there, it's going to be a little bit smaller, a little different sort of volume of water to what this great Southern Ocean has, and I imagine that we might see a little more action in the air.
Yeah, I would assume so, and of course, you look at the Brazilian crowd, they're all going to be up there. It's a sleepy little surf town. But again,
Not
it
anymore.
holds. Yeah, I was going to say.
It's going to light up.
It sure is. It sure is. And, you know, again, you know, the Oi Rio Pro coming up in just at the beginning of May 9th through 20th. Yep. So it's coming up pretty quickly. I mean, we're going to be packing up bags. The surfers, a big influence on part of the move, Barra de Tijuca, pretty good wave. But, of course, want a little bit better, always, the quality there. Let's hear what the surfers had to say about that move up to Saquarema.
Saquarema is an awesome change, so I'm excited to go there. I've had some success there in the QS.
It's a good wave. There's a lot more space. There's a lot more area on the wave to surf.
I'm excited about, you know, the change of venue in Brazil at Saquarema. I think it's a, you know, really quality wave.
There's like this perfect left and the right that goes through the channel, and I think it's going to be a really amazing event. A lot of people for sure, and it's going to be fun.
And with the recent extension of the jetty to the south end, that actually improved the other backup site. And again, if you get winds coming out of the north, you'll be surfing the wave at the main break. But if it comes the other direction, which can chop up that main spot, go to that place. It's going to be a fun wave. It's just made for ramps. Like you talked about, Ariels, that little wedge peak can be pretty fun to surf. So exciting stuff. The Oi Rio Pro coming up very, very soon. Final thoughts, guys. I mean, it's been a lot to digest. Any highlight moments for you?
Well, there's been a lot of highlights, but Australia's been the highlights. There was a little bit of talk about 3 events being too many, and I think Australia went, hey, I'll show you, it's not too many. Here, have some surf, and just delivered, you know, the best conditions we've seen in many a year.
Yeah, I like just obviously the variety that we've had. You know, it's really tested all these guys to have to perform on all these different kinds of breaks, and you know, that adaptability that we always talk about is necessary to be a successful surfer. You know, the whole package has been required so far in Australia, the big wave game, the barrels, the airs, the rail game, you name it, endurance, everything's been tested here in Australia, and I think that's what we want.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a breather. And I think, you know what, that was an amazing leg, and I'm so stoked. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. We've had a great one. We got to go to Oi Rio Pro coming up just in a couple of weeks. We'll be there.